What is going on, YouTube? Reidboyy, console god here. Verdansk is back, and with it, Reidboyy's #1 console settings is back as well. So I'm sure that there's a bunch of you that haven't touched Warzone in a very long time. You are coming right back, and they've changed all sorts of different settings. They've added new stuff. They've changed things around for absolutely no reason, so none of your stuff is the same. We've got you. Sit back, relax, take some notes, have your game up, ready to change things and copy paste right to what you need right here. Reidboyy is back on the PS5 for Verdansk, and with that we have the settings that I use to have almost a 10 KD in Battle Royale. So you just copy and paste these settings and you are going to dominate the Warzone just like me. These are, again, PlayStation 5 specific settings that I've got. At the very end of the video, I will show you all of my PlayStation 5 system settings as well. But besides that, let's get right into the Black Ops 6 settings as well. So if you've watched any of my previous Black Ops 6 gameplay settings videos, these are going to be very, very similar to that. Right away, we are on controller. We play on a controller. We do not use a mouse and keyboard to play Call of Duty. That's for losers. We play on bumper jumper tactical. I've been on that for 10 years now at this point, ever since Black Ops 3, and they added jetpacks into the game. #1 important thing here, you do not want to take your thumb off of the right thumbstick ever. You never ever want to do that if you don't have to. Whether you play bumper jumper, stick and move as another button layout, or whatever. Whether you have a SCUF controller or some other kind of fancy one, you can use code READ if you want to get a discount on your own SCUF controller. Main key here is you never ever want to take off your thumb from the aiming thumbstick. You want to always be able to aim. I jump with L1, I slide with R3. I actually have a paddle set to slide, but I can play perfectly fine without a SCUF controller. I can use a default controller if I needed to, using the bumper jumper tactical button layout. So they absolutely butchered the sensitivity in this game. 0 people anywhere ever asked for them to do this. 0 people anywhere ever asked for them to change the sensitivity, and yet for some reason they did, because 1 to 20 was just way too complicated. So instead they tried to make it 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 with decimal points, because why not, you know? So there are conversion tables that you can use. The ones they tweeted out apparently aren't accurate. Who knows, man? Why would they do this? I don't know. Reidboyy plays on a 1.8, 1.4 sensitivity. This should be similar to a 7 horizontal, 5 vertical system that they had in the past. If you are looking for a new sensitivity, I would go somewhere from 1.5 to 2. Somewhere in that window, maybe like a 2.2 at the highest that I would go with. But 1.5 to 2 is your golden area, where you can still turn pretty quickly. You can turn as fast as you need to do, but you are still being able to be very, very accurate with your shots. Again, I would just Google the conversion table if you are curious as to what you used to have compared to what you have now. Yeah, so that's that. We can just scroll through all these random settings. We got these all turned off. Reidboyy plays with controller vibration turned on. Most people anywhere ever are going to tell you to turn that off. I cannot shoot straight if my controller's not twerking like a twerk team, so we've got that cranked all the way up to the max. If you are confused and don't know what to do with this, I would just turn it off. If you don't notice the difference at all, turning it off is probably better for you. I have had to get brand new controllers sent to me just because the vibration and nothing else stopped working, but the vibration did. We had to get a new controller because of that. So if it doesn't make a difference, you turn the vibration off. The dead zones. Dead zones are a very, very important setting. Very, very important setting in this game. You want to have your minimums very, very low. Absolutely got to be in the single digits. One thing you can notice here is if you test your dead zone, you see, and they move a very, very minor amount. Minor have like a very small percentage. That does not ever make a difference. You are never, ever, ever going to lose a gunfight because your stick is super duper slowly drifting. That is not gonna make a difference, but what you do want is you want your controller to be as fine-tuned, as easy to make very minor adjustments from long range as possible. So you want that, again, you want that dead zone to be super duper low. I changed mine from like 0 to 1 sometimes. I'm not even sure how it got to 1. 0 to 1, and then you want your minimum set to very low, but I would not keep the left stick at 0 because you can sometimes not stay still when you want to stay still. The L2, R2, I have the fancy triggers on my SCUF controller that this is as far as I can press it down, so it's always at a 0 dead zone. But if you don't have fancy triggers like me, you can use code READ to get your own. SCUF.co/Reidboyy, link in the description. Or you can just turn your button dead zone down as low as it gets. Onto the aiming settings, the sensitivity multipliers. We've got a lot of these set to default. We into the specific sensitivity multipliers. down lower. Aiming advanced settings, we got all this set to standard. The ADS sensitivity transition timing, I'm not sure what it sets to as default. I've got mine set to instant. Basically with these, I would just pick, especially if you haven't played the game recently, just pick one, stick with it, get used to it. Get used to it, doesn't make a big difference. Keep a note of what it is. Settings love to change themselves randomly in Call of Duty. They love to just reset back to default. Keep a note of which one you like, and go with that. I've got it set to instant. I think gradual might be the default one, but that makes a minor difference. But if you change it back and forth, it's going to mess with your aim. The aim response curve type. A lot of people are going to tell you this one's the best. No, this one's the best. No, this one's the best. This is personal preference. These settings are specifically personal preference, how your brain works to the way you move your thumbstick and how your guy reacts in game. Linear is, in my opinion, my favorite. It just reacts I move a little bit, my character turns a little bit. There's a chart you can Google if you want to see the specifics for how they work and how they react. Most people play on dynamic. A decent chunk of people play on linear. I don't really know anybody that plays standard, but I would recommend you try these out, test them on the firing range a little bit, maybe go hop into some BR casual. You want to shoot some bots in like a real live setting. See which one of these you like the most. Stick with it. Don't change this setting. Pick one. Same thing with the transition timing. Pick one, stick with it. The more you play, the better you're going to get with that setting. The aim response curve slope, that also goes into it. With linear being a straight line, there's no real slope to it, doesn't make a difference. That really only applies to these other ones, and I wouldn't really mess with this one too much. That doesn't really benefit you at all. It just changes the way things work, you know, kind of laterally. It doesn't make anything better or worse, but if you change a lot, it is going to make you worse. The custom sensitivity per zoom is this right here. This is going to make your aim a little bit more fine-tuned. We're at the 0.8 on the lower zoom scopes, you know, your 3 times, your red dots, your iron sights. That's going to make it be able to be a little bit more accurate and fine-tune the adjustments. And then the higher zoom, the sniper scopes, pretty much is only used the sniper. They're a little bit higher. That way I can, you know, still keep up with a moving target when they're moving. Let's see, advanced settings. Obviously, Verdansk is back. We've got the aim assist turned off. Aim assist is cheating. Only stinky, smelly cheater boys need to use aim assist. It's basically just aimbot at this point. Any of your streamers, your favorite streamers that refuse to turn off aim assist, they know that it's because they need the game to aim for them to be good. So good players turn off aim assist, obviously. Don't even need to talk about that too much. Now, the movement. Anybody new to Warzone in the last couple years, you might not be used to the movement, especially the Omni movement. Tactical sprint assist is your best friend. That is how you see some streamers and other sweats and demons and the TikTok kids run so much faster than it feels like you should be able to run. That's the tactical sprint assist, also known in the past as automatic tactical sprint. This is going to allow you to just sprint max speed just by pushing your thumbstick. So it's going to get rid of your ability to do what we call the bot walk, when you just walk forward instead of sprinting forward. Most good players very rarely ever do that. If you do need to move slowly, you crouch. So this gets rid of that ability. It does make it very hard to use shotguns and akimbo guns. That does make it very hard to use those, but that is a worth it trade-off for the speed boost and the general movement speed increases you're going to be able to do with this. You want the delay set to 0. That way you are instantly moving as soon as you want to. And you can also, in this game, for anybody who doesn't know, you can sprint sideways and backwards. The Omni movement lets you sprint in all directions. You tack sprint forward. That's maximum speed. That's why you want it on the tactical sprint assist and not just on. It allows you to move at maximum speed as fast as possible. Some people have started turning off the sprint assist backwards. I like sprinting backwards. I love being able to do this, so I don't want that turned off, but they do say it allows you to lay down easier if you feel like you're struggling to lay down when you want to just lay down and not slide somewhere. Turning that setting off will help. You do want all these mantle assists turned off. You never ever want to mantle when you don't want to mantle. You will lose a lot more gunfights than it will ever save your life. So mantle assist, turn that off. Same thing with the crouch assist. You never want it to crouch for you. The corner slice, this makes no effect on your aim at all. All this really does is tilt your gun sideways a little bit. Some people don't like that. It makes no difference to me. I kind of like the way it looks, so I keep it turned on. If you're not a fan of your guy just tilting on his own, again, it doesn't affect your aim at all, but if you just don't like the way it looks, turn that one off. It does not make any difference in the gameplay. The slide dive behavior, this is a good setting right here. This is a good setting right here. So you got options. You can slide in this game. You can dolphin dive in this game. More realistically, sliding makes a bigger difference. Dolphin diving is occasionally useful, which is why it does help to have it on. But if you feel like you are never dolphin diving and you never want to dolphin dive, slide only. You don't really want to dive only. Sliding is too important. Sliding into gunfights, sliding away from gunfights, sliding around. Sliding is too important. So basically your two options here are you want to be on slide only if you feel like you never dive, you never need to dive, never want to dive, or hybrid if you do want to dolphin dive. Now, why would you want to dolphin dive? Some people might ask. Going from one roof to another, you specifically jumping off a roof, if you dolphin dive, it gives you that extra speed momentum to make it to extra distances. So that's one thing on Verdansk. Some jump spots are possible now in 2025 Verdansk that were not possible in OG Verdansk, thanks to the hybrid movement system and dolphin diving off of ledges into a parachute. So I would strongly recommend you put on a hybrid and get really used to it. I feel like I never really dolphin dive on an accident, and now, as opposed to like Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 Warzone, if you do dolphin dive when you don't mean to, you can still ADS, you can still shoot. It's not an instant death sentence. It just makes you look goofy. It might mess with your aim a little bit, but I think dolphin diving is worth it. So hybrid is definitely a setting that I would recommend you keep on. Now, these two settings are very important. I didn't realize that originally, maybe in one of my OG settings videos for Black Ops 6, sprint restore and slide maintain sprint. You want those on for sure. That makes your movement feel icy. It's going to make your movement way more fluid, way smoother. It's going to make you look like Reidboyy Woe on the map with the movement god settings right there. You want your parachute automatic behavior. You want this off. This is going to allow you to get to the ground faster than people who have it on. It's going to happen. You're going to break your ankles a couple times. It's just a learning curve. You just got to get used to it real quick. It is not that big of a deal though. Everybody does it. I've done it. It is way more worth it to get to the ground, to get to that gun, to turn around while that other guy's automatic parachute deployed and he's still floating in the sky, a free kill for you. You want that turned off. Mantle cancels reload. You never want to cancel your reload. You don't want that happening, especially when you're mantling on accident, so keep that turned off. The advanced settings right here, sprint, tactical sprint behavior. This doesn't really apply too much with you playing on the automatic sprint assist, if you will. But this is, if you don't like that, if you don't want to get used to it, you definitely want to play with the single tap run setting. Single tap run, and I've got it set to toggle. Those two combined do allow you to get much faster movement than default settings without going full I can't walk. You don't want the auto move forward or the auto door peek. You don't want those. Plunging underwater, I've got that set to free. That way I don't have to press a button to go underwater. If I'm looking down, I swim down. That's the way I want it to be. And then sprinting door bash allows you to just run through a door rather than running up to it, opening, and then running through it. This allows you to stay more fluid running through doors. None of the vehicle behaviors I feel are very important, besides maybe the button that you press to lean out. The combat settings, aim down sight behavior, hold, tactical stance on toggle. What is the important setting here? The weapon mount activation. Now, this is an important one here. Mounting gets rid of recoil. For anybody who doesn't know that, if you mount your gun up on a wall, your gun has less recoil to it. So you absolutely want this on. You don't want it off. And the main thing here is you never want to mount on accident. You are mounting, you only want it to ever be on purpose. So sometimes you'll double tap the ADS in some situation and you don't want to mount when you do that. You don't ever want to just mount every time you aim down sights and you're near a wall. That's going to get you killed so much. So the default here, you're never going to aim down sights and melee on accident. So that's a setting that you want it on. And then another W setting here, you look in the related settings. I'm not too sure where this one is, but the weapon mount exit, you want this off. So what this does is if you try moving while you're mounted, you won't exit. The only way to exit the mount is to stop aim down sights. But what that does, if you are a stinky, smelly cheater boy who uses the aim assist, the aim bot, if you will, the built-in aim bot in your controller in the in-game settings, the default settings, if you do use that, this will activate that RAA, the rotational aim assist, all the fat mouse and keyboard kids cry about. This will activate that to give you even more aimbot assist, to shoot even straighter when you're mounted up. So I definitely recommend you keep that on and just hold your left thumbstick in any direction when you're mounted up on a wall to get no recoil and aimbot assist. Anyways, on the next settings, your dedicated melee weapons. So I would recommend you have this set on the hold melee. For anybody who doesn't know that, if you hold your melee button, you pull out your melee weapon and you have unlimited tactical sprint. If you're running with a gun out, A, you run a little bit slower, B, you only have a limited amount of tactical sprint before you just start regular sprinting. If you hold your melee weapon, this will allow you to have unlimited tactical sprint, very similar to what the perk 2 sprinter does. So I recommend you never run the sprinter perk, and if you do need the unlimited tactical sprint, just pull out your melee weapon real quick. Super simple, super easy to do. Armor plate behavior, apply all. You want this one set to apply all. You don't want to open up your chest, reload it real quick, close it, open it up, put in a second plate, do it again. You don't want to do that. You want to do it all in one smooth boom 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 motion. That's way faster than putting in one individually. The C4 detonation, we've got that set to all at once. Anything else here? Manual fire behavior. So I've seen some people say this is a cheat code to shoot a semi-automatic gun fully automatic. This is not the vibes. If you've got this set to hold, it's going to make the pistol you spawn in with fully auto, but it shoots ridiculously slow. There is no way that you can shoot slower semi-auto than it shoots in its fully auto mode. So make sure you set this to press. That way you can shoot your gun way faster. The combat advanced settings. What do we got going on in here? Prioritize interact. This is going to allow you to pick stuff up off the ground significantly faster. So you definitely want that to be on. Sprint cancels reload. I've got that set to off. I cancel my reloads by double tapping the weapon swap button, double tapping triangle, YYing, whatever you want to call it. Some people don't like that. Some people want to cancel the reloads with sprinting. That's like an OG Call of Duty thing. So you can turn that on. I've got it set to off. The akimbo behavior, this is another good setting right here. Set this to paired. That way, when you have akimbos, you only have to shoot one button to shoot them both at the same time. I can't really ever think of a situation when I only want to shoot one of my 2 akimbo guns. Either both or don't shoot. So I've got it set to paired. As soon as you run out of ammo, you switch guns. That's what that setting is. I like that. Overlay advanced settings, nothing really important here. That's it for the general controller settings. On to the graphics, in-game graphics settings. Gamma brightness, I've got mine set to 51. This is going to combine a little bit with your monitor / TV, whatever you play on. That settings, yeah, mine set to 51. Again, that's more about what it looks like on your actual screen. Eco mode, I've got that turned off. I've heard that it makes your PlayStation run like a little bit slower and not as optimized. I've got no need for that, so I've got that turned right on off. You want all these blurs, you got these turned off. You don't want your game to be blurry. You don't want the depth of field to make your game look blurry. That's not good. Turn those off. The fidelity cast, I've turned this off and on. I don't notice any type of difference. It doesn't make a difference to me. I've tried it as low as 69. I've gone up to 100. It doesn't make a difference. I've heard plenty of people say you want to turn it on and set it anywhere between 80 to 100. Because I can't tell the difference, we just turn it to a really nice number. But I would definitely, if I was you don't know what's going on, turn it on somewhere between 80 to 100. The on-demand texture streaming, I've got that set to optimize. That I think has a decent amount to do with your internet. If you have internet that struggles a little bit, you definitely want to turn it to minimal. I have super mega NASA spaceship internet, so we've got it set to optimized, no limit at all. My internet goes crazy. We got the best possible for this. Yeah, that's more personal with you. We got some view settings. So console players get to experience Verdansk for the first time in 120 FOV. That doesn't mean it's worth it. Now you can go above 80. We should probably start doing that. But there's a reason why all the best of the best Call of Duty players in the world, the people that shoot really straight and win all their 1v1 gunfights against real people, it's a reason why they don't instantly crank theirs up to 120. If you want to be the best you that you can be, you want to be somewhere between the 100 to 110 range. The most important thing is winning your 1v1 gunfights. And I'm gonna be real honest with you, if you're watching this video, there's a chance that you need all the help that you can get to win some 1v1 gunfights and focus on winning each and every gunfight before you worry about anything else. So somewhere in the 100 to 110 range is going to make you shoot straight. It's going to make you better at the game. You do not want to crank it all the way up to max 120 if you want to be as good as possible. If you just want to see and you want your game to look cool and you want it to look like you're moving faster, go crank it up to 120, go crazy, but it is going to hinder you more than it's going to help you. The weapon field of view, you want that set to wide. That makes your gun, as you can see right there in the bottom, it says your weapon looks smaller, takes up less of your screen. You definitely want that. The ADS field of view, set that to affected. Third person field of view, when you're flying in the sky and you're parachuting, you open your parachute, you want to be able to see as much as possible in that situation. Same thing with the vehicle field of view, you want that wide. When in those situations when you're not shooting your gun, you want to be able to see as much as possible. You want your camera movements to be as little as possible. You don't ever want your screen shaking or blurry, none of that, so keep those down to 50%. This is one of the most important settings in the game right here. One of the most important settings, the inverted flashbang. When you get flashed, rather than your screen going to be the color of the sun, blinding you completely for 20 seconds, burning your retinas, this makes it go pitch black. absolute W of a setting. You absolutely want this turned on. It's gonna, the first couple times, it's gonna make you think your game crashed. It's gonna freak you out. My monitor's broke. What happened? Until the screen comes back, it's okay. Get used to it. It's better for your eyesight, trust me. We got the audio settings, the big stuff, the goods. So this update has made some W audio changes. The game sounds pretty good. I'd give it a solid like 7 or 8 out of 10, much better than what we've had in the past, at least for me. In my years, my Astro A40 TRs with the Gen 1 mix amp. I don't have to have any corny ass third-party audio downloaded to be able to hear everything perfectly and beautifully. I do have the gameplay music volume on just for this video. That way, whenever I take a pause, it's not completely dead silent. We got that turned on. Normally, that's at 0, maybe 5 if I want to hear some random music in the background, but we got that turned all the way down so it doesn't block out the sound of footprints. Master game volume set to 100. Dialogue, that's the voiceover talk guy in your ear, the announcer. You don't want him overpowering footsteps, but he does say important information sometimes, so we got that set down to 60. And then the cinematic music volume does never affect your gameplay, so I've got that set up to 100 so we can hear the post-game and intro music. That sounds pretty sick nasty. And then the effects volumes, that's the good stuff. You want that set up to 100. Crank that up. I do not use the enhanced headphone mode. I don't like it. I don't like the way it sounds. You can try it. I absolutely do not think it is worth paying for something like this, and not a chance in hell. So I just keep that turned off. The audio mix, this right here is the cheat code. Sucker punch. That's the best way to hear footsteps. This is the cheat code audio. Again, if you have different headphones, maybe it might sound a little different. Maybe it's not as much of a cheat code, but this is a W for me. I hear everything I need to hear. Nobody ever sneaks up on me without me knowing that they're coming. So sucker punch audio, you do not want mono audio turned on. The intensity, the frequency, intensity, I didn't really mess with these too much. I'm pretty sure, I feel like these are all set to default, but these are what all my numbers are. I've never even heard that before. Yeah, I feel like I've set these at default. I don't think I've ever messed with these too much, but those are my numbers if you want to copy them, if that's not what yours are set to. But either way, those are good settings. Reduced tonight sound effect, we got that off, and the hit marker preset, we got that set to classic. I like the way that sounds. The voice chat settings, we got our voice chat volume set to 30, so people aren't ever too loud in my ear. We don't want people's voices in game chat overpowering the sound of footsteps. Prox chat on. I wonder why I haven't had that on. Body shield chat on. When you, for anybody who doesn't know, if somebody's down and you take them hostage in body shield, you can talk shit to them and they can talk shit back. It is hilarious. It is a ton of fun. The death comms, you want that on. My microphone has some specific settings to make it purposely sound as terrible as it can possibly be. This is what people hear in game chat whenever I talk, and this is pretty quiet on my end, but they can hear every single thing I do. They can hear my fan on my PC from the other side of the desk. So we love that. That again, that's just me because I don't ever talk in game chat, so whenever I do, it sounds horrendous. And the interface settings, anything super important in here? Not really. We got our latency and packet loss. That way you can tell what your ping is to the server you're on if you're ever on a server that you shouldn't be on. Nothing. Oh, color customization. Color customization is nice. That allows you to fully tweak some things if you want to. This is why my game pops a little bit more than default. I also have some filters on the stream that you guys see that makes things look a little bit better. But my monitor looks pretty similar to this. It depends on your monitor and TV, you know, what kind of stuff you can change in that. But filter 2, you want your color filtered target set to both, and the world color intensity set to anywhere from 80 to 100 is fine. I don't want mine to be too overpowering, and the interface is set to 100. That makes things pop a little bit. I like that. Nothing. You can totally customize some colors if you really want to. I don't need to. The gameplay HUD, make sure your mini map's a square. You want it to be as big as possible so that way you can get the maximum, you know, amount of UAV coverage. Mini map rotation, I got that set to on. Radar, I don't like the way that looks. I've got that off. Anything else here? The stamina bar. Didn't even know that was a setting, to be honest. Anything else here that's important? Custom ping duration. You can limit how long your pings are on for. You might want to turn that on too, also, so that way it doesn't annoy your teammates. The crosshair static. This is another one. I knew there's one in here. Your crosshair settings. Set it to static. That way your crosshairs aren't moving all over the place. It's going to help you center very, very noticeably. As well as you want to have the dot on so you can know where the dead center of your screen is. This helps a lot with sniping and just centering in general. As well as you can change the color of your crosshair. Change your color to whatever color you want. I got mine set to sick, nasty green, because why not? Stenchy green. Reidboyy loves it. You got that. You want your hit markers on as well as the damage-based hit markers on, so that way you can tell when you get a red hit marker. If you get a white one immediately after that, that means that there's somebody else there. You know that there's another guy that you're shooting at. You can change the opacity. This is some personal preference stuff that I don't really mess with. And that is all your settings that you could possibly need for in-game for in Black Ops 6. We'll also go real quick into our PlayStation system settings for anybody who needs that. This is my sound settings. Again, that's the input mic that's supposed to purposely sound really, really bad. The audio output. Again, my setup's a little bit more complicated because my PS5 goes into my capture card before it gets to my ears and to your ears. So mine's a little bit more complex than a normal person's is, but I make sure I have this set to linear is I think the important thing here. I don't use the 3D audio or anything like that. And then the screen and video settings. This only says this because I'm in the PlayStation menu, but I'm on 1440, 120 hertz on game. PS5s can do that. VRR off. 120 hertz on, all M off, HDR off. We got most of this random stuff set to off. My game performs perfectly. I can switch back and forth between my PC, my $4,000 PC, and my $500 console back and forth super easily without noticing any type of difference. Again, that's all the settings. Let me know if there's any questions you have about anything, and I can break that down for you. I can explain stuff to you. Please let me know in the comments. Make sure you like this video if this helped you out. I appreciate it. It helped me out a ton. And don't forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel and you enjoy Call of Duty content. We've got all the best console gameplay you can find right here at youtube.com/Reidboyy. Don't forget to follow Reidboyy on other platforms. You guys have a blessed one.